Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This is Carla with In Pursuit, and as you can see, I am in my home office. On the rare occasion I am not out today because I injured my back or something doing deliveries Monday, and so I just took the day off to recuperate and to go ahead and get this video out because it's kind of been on my mind for a while. Please excuse my table in the background. I'm going through some transition, trying to get some things set up and organized, so please ignore that. Also, you probably didn't notice, but my glasses, yeah, they're all kind of crazy because I got these glasses a while ago, but they never really suited me well, so I have to wear them this crazy way in order to see. So yeah, just bear with me as I go through this. So I am evolving, you guys. I'm not just shooting from the hip today. I did make notes for this video because I want, as you saw the thumbnail, I really wanted to talk about this topic, and I wanted to make sure I had some notes because I wanted to cover everything, make sure I got everything in this video that I wanted to cover. So welcome back everyone who are my subscribers, and if you're new to this channel, again, my name is Carla, and my videos are sort of random, but lately I have been covering mostly my gig work with Walmart Spark. And so you'll see a lot of those, in the video lineup. So that's pretty much what I've been covering lately. But I randomly talk about other little topics too. So before I get into today's topic, I did want to quickly mention that I have not been spared by the Walmart closings. I saw, it started, I guess, everything starting on the West Coast, like Portland, Oregon, and Michigan, whatever. Not Michigan, excuse me, Washington. And so, yeah, we have not been spared from the Walmart closings, unfortunately. In one of my previous videos, one of my viewers actually was the one who pointed out, I need to stay on top of these things, but it was my viewer who actually was the one who told me about the Walmart closing in my area. So yeah, there was 3 that are in my zone. Now it's going to be 2, I guess. I don't know. But I'm going to be making a whole separate video on that. But I did want to point that out that, yeah, even my area has been affected by the whole Walmart closings. So we'll see how this pans out. Okay, so looking at my notes here. All right, so several months ago I did this video, and I will show you the thumbnail. Okay, so this was the video that I did, and it was in regard to a delivery that I made in a rural, semi-rural, I guess you can just say it was a rural area here in northern Indiana. And I just shared my experience about what happened, and a neighbor came out and was basically being nosy and things of that nature. But this actual video is in response to a comment that was made under that video, and I am going to show you what the comment was. Okay, I blurted out the person's name so you can see this comment that was made by this individual, and I'm going to read it. Okay, it says, I would have told to KMA, or kiss my A, and mind your business. So at that time, I just hearted the comment, and I just let it be. But every now and then, it just comes back to mind. I typically am reminded of that comment when I'm out driving again in this same rural area. Okay, so the comment itself, it's innocuous, no biggie or whatever, but I just keep thinking about, who I am as a person, where I live, the history of this area, and I know that if I were to say something like that, that would be adding fuel to the fire, okay? And that is not at all what I am trying to be dealing with in these delivery streets, okay? So you saw the thumbnail. Again, here it is. And it reads, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. And now that comes from the Bible. It comes from Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. And the full verse reads, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." So you're supposed to be wise and harmless at the same time. Okay? So like I said, while I'm out, especially in these rural areas, there's a city too, but especially in these rural areas, I have to keep this in mind. I don't have the luxury of just being carefree and doing what I want, frolicking through the city, whatever. And I don't have that luxury. Okay? As you can see, I am a black woman, and those identities could potentially put a target on my back. Let's just keep it real. Okay? America is not as post-racial as, folks try to make you think it is. Okay? So, as I mentioned, I live in Indiana, and Indiana has made the top 10 of this certain list. Okay? It ranks so high that it was actually number 2 on this list. Okay? Number 1 was Illinois. Now, can you guess? You saw the thumbnail. So, can you guess what Indiana is number 2 for? Okay? Okay, I'm sure you already know. Indiana is ranked number 2. Again, only second to Illinois in the number of sundown towns. Okay, historically, because I'm sure a lot of these cities are not technically still sundown towns, but they have that history. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, all right, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna read you this article about what sundown towns are, but as you're reading this, I want you to keep in mind this is the reason why I don't have the luxury of just telling big burly white guys, to kiss my behind because they're coming out being nosy during my route. I do not have that luxury. Okay? So, I'm going to read you this article from blackindylive.com. All right? I'm going to be leaving a link. So, I'm going to leave the link of the original video, and then I'm going to leave the link of this article in the description box. Okay? So, here's what that article reads. Report: Indiana leads nation in sundown towns more than all of South combined. A website that specializes in researching and chronicling American sundown towns has named Indiana among the top 2 states in the nation containing these harbors of white supremacy. Wikipedia defines sundown towns as: sundown towns, also known as sunset towns, gray towns, or sundowner towns, are all white municipalities or neighborhoods in the United States that practice a form of racial segregation by excluding non-whites via some combination of discriminatory local laws, intimidation, or violence. The term came from signs posted that, quote, colored people had to leave town by sundown. Despite being comprised mostly of free states where slavery was outlawed completely, the clusters of sundown towns in Midwestern states dwarf that of any other area in the country. For Black residents of the Hoosier State, Indiana's map may be even more alarming. Data showed Indiana to be second in the nation in sundown towns, only behind neighboring Illinois. According to this data, Indiana contained more sundown towns than the southern states of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee combined. The scale categorizes town sundown status by levels such as probably, surely, unlikely, etc. Indiana is in the top 5 for both surely and probable, the highest levels of designation on this scale. Okay, so you can see where I'm coming from, right? So that's the connection between, my experience and the history of Indiana, okay? So that's where I am coming from. Okay, so let me tell you about how I first learned about sundown towns. This isn't something that I can say was learned in schools. It was not. I learned this from my grandmother, and I'm pretty sure it was my grandmother. But so I was getting ready to go off to college, and my grandmother gave me this warning, and she told me, she said, when you're going down there, do not, do not stop in Martinsville. Now, I don't know if this is some warning that every kid was given, going to school or whatever, but I was given this warning, and I told the people that I was riding with, and I'm pretty sure they said they already knew that. So, uh, what she told me was, did not stop in Martinsville because that's where the KKKs are. Okay? Now, I remember that. So, I'm going to go back to the map. So, it's an interactive map. And another thing I'm going to link in the description box, a link to this Sundown Town map. Okay? So, I am going to show you this map again to show you what I had to go through, like literally drive through, when going off to school. So I was coming from the north. You can see on the map in the center you have Indiana, the state, and Indianapolis is capital. And north of there, northwest of there, you can see that I was coming down through all these red dots, through Indianapolis, through where the little red flag is, down to Bloomington. The little red flag is the city of Martinsville, Indiana. When you click on the red flag, it pops up Martinsville, confirmed surely. Click for more information. And you click on it, it comes up Martinsville, Indiana. Basic information, place, type of place, independent city or town, metro area. Politics circa 1860, don't know. Unions, organized labor, don't know. Sundown town status, confirmed sundown town, surely. Was there an ordinance, don't know. Sign, don't know. Year of greatest interest, 1968. Still sundown town? Probably not, although still very few black people. Scroll down, you can see the census information, and I'm not really going to go into that part, but you have that there. Method of exclusion, threat of violence, violence toward newcomers, private bad behavior, reputation, main ethnic groups, unknown, groups excluded, black, and then goes into comments. It has been suggested that Martinsville is the national headquarters for the KKK, although I have suggested the KKK isn't very organized national. These are people's comments that they added on the page. Martinsville has a reputation as an all-white town, hostile to blacks, largely due to the 1968 murder of 21-year-old Carol Jenkins, a black woman. Martinsville has received much media attention, including an article in the New Yorker by Mark Singer entitled Who Killed Carol Jenkins? January 7, 2002. The behavior of Martinsville sports fan warranted coverage in Sports Illustrated in an article entitled Martinsville Sad Season, February 23, 1998. And I graduated May 1998, so I was down there during this time. It states on January 23, 1998, as Bloomington High North's racially mixed team got off the bus upon arriving for a game at Martinsville, about a dozen Martinsville students greeted the visitors with a barrage of racial epithets. Here come the darkies. During the junior varsity game, several Bloomington players were bitten by Martinsville's players. During the varsity game, a member of Martinsville all-white team elbowed a black North player in the stomach so fiercely that the player began vomiting. As he was doubled over on the sidelines, a fan yelled, "That in, spitting on the floor, get his A off the floor." According to a report that Bloomington North filed with the Indians High School Athletic Association, epithets like baboon and other threats, such as "you're not safe in this town," continued after the game, which Martinsville won 69-66. It wasn't just nasty, says one Bloomington North fan, an adult who was in attendance. It was downright scary. So they were sanctioned, cannot host conference games in any sport for a year. This wasn't the first time that charges of racist behavior were leveled against one of Martinsville's teams. In the last year, at least 2 high schools in central Indiana have dropped the Artesians from their schedules after games were marred by brawls and racial slurs. School administrators in Martinsville were unwilling to discuss the incidents or its aftermath. Another comment, a Martinsville resident writes, Martinsville whites will deny there is racism in that town to their last breath. It is their belief that since the murder that blacks have stayed away. It isn't anything that has actively been done to keep them out. It is more that they don't want to come there. Amounts to the same thing to me. And then there are just some other comments that other people have left on the page. All right, so that basketball incident was February 1998, and I was there. I was at IU Bloomington, I guess. I wasn't at the game, but I was at IU, which is the same city as, where the team came from, and then Martinsville, which is like kind of close, right up the road. So I was at school. I was at college when that incident occurred. Now, I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and say I remember hearing anything about it while I was down there. I'm sure I did, but I do not recall hearing about that incident. But I do have my own stories. I have 2 incidents that I can recall with regard to just the whole idea of the sundown towns in Martinsville. So the first one, I attended school in Bloomington, but I went to church in Indianapolis, and there were a group of us who went up there. So this one particular Sunday, we were coming back from church, and the guy, for whatever reason, wanted to experiment with his headlights, turning them off at night. Well, that resulted in us getting pulled over, and that was pretty terrifying. We were all pretty scared, pretty shaken, and he was like, "I'm never gonna do that again." So, he ended up getting off with a warning, but yeah, that was definitely something that was pretty scary, and we were all just pretty much shaken by that whole experience. Because it was nighttime, and when you're driving from Indianapolis back to Bloomington, you make sure you have your gas tank full so that you have no reason or no need to be stopping on the road on your way back. Yeah, so that was a pretty harrowing experience. And the second one, it wasn't on the road, but I actually had to go into Martinsville. Okay, so let me get my notes here. All right, so I was a senior. At IU, and I had this education class, and I was paired up with this other young lady of Samoan descent. And for this class, we were required to do these externships. I don't know if that's what the term was, but it's basically you had to go into these classrooms in elementary schools and do observations, and they give you, this assignments and things like that. So this other lady and I were assigned to a school in Martinsville. And I was thinking, are you serious? Like, of all the people in this classroom, you send the 2 minority students, the 2 non-whites? So, like, why are we the ones that have to go to Martinsville? Are you trying to kill us or something? Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I really didn't. And so I didn't have a car at that time, and fortunately the other young lady did have a car, and she was kind enough to allow me to ride with her back and forth to Martinsville. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. And so we had to go to this elementary school. I believe we went to the same school, and she had, we just had like a different classroom in the same building. And so we had to go once a week for so many weeks. I think it was like an 8-week thing or something like that, or 6 weeks or whatever it was. We had to go once a week. And, all praises to the Most High, nothing nothing happened. So we were okay. You know, we did our observations. She didn't mention anything crazy. You know, we kind of talked about it on the ride and everything. And she didn't mention anything crazy happening during her observations. And you know, fortunately, I don't have anything negative to say about that experience. Actually, the only thing that really stands out from that course, from the externship, was, you know, something not even racially related. It actually had to do with the children were, so it was an all-way school, but in this school, the children were given these little cups, like, you know, those little cups that you use in the bathroom to rinse your mouth out or whatever. So they had these little cups. Like, every child in the classroom had to do these fluoride treatments every day. So they were given this little solution. It was, you know, from my memory, it was like an orange solution, and they had to, you know, swish it around in their mouths and then spit it out. But, you know, that was the only thing that stood out to me. And when I asked the teacher, you know, what that was all about, you know, she told me that they were fluoride treatments, and in the area, most of the homes got their water like their well water, so the water wasn't treated. And so they had to give these fluoride treatments as a means to, you know, help strengthen their teeth. You know how that goes. So yeah, that was the only thing that was kind of, you know, memorable from that experience. You know, nothing, you know, racially or anything like that happened. So you know, I'm glad about that. So yeah, I survived my Martinsville experience. But it's still, you know, it was unnerving. You know, you go, at least for me anyway. I was not comfortable. I was not comfortable being there. You know, nothing happened, but I still was not comfortable being there. But you know, I got my experience in, and you know, finished the course, and I graduated and everything. But yeah, I definitely was not comfortable with that externship. So with all this being said, you know, you can see why I would respond the way that I did, you know, to in the original video where I said the guy came out and was being nosy and everything. So with all this history, with my personal history, with the history of the state, I'm sure you can see why I would respond in the manner in which I did. And I want to read this verse from the Bible again. Proverbs 15:1 reads, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." So this guy, he came out, he already had a chip on his shoulder. He was already, you know, being nosy. What are you doing? And he was talking about how he had all these unmarked cars in his neighborhood or whatever. So yeah, he was already ready to try to make trouble. So definitely being able to read the room, if you will, and to escalate situation is definitely a skill that is unmatched. So you know, while I'm out here, you know, I'm just making sure that I am not trying to match anyone's energy and do all that jazz. You know, hey, save that for another day. You know, not all battles are meant for you to fight, because not all battles are winnable. It's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, so that's just it. You know, that was my experience. You know, that's my response to the comment on that video. And I just want to say, when you're out here, just be smart, be wise. You know, I think back to the video of the lady who let the guy into her apartment complex, into her gym, her weight room, whatever. You know, we just gotta know this is just the environment that we're dealing with, and we just have to be wise. And even my own self, going back to the video that I made of my lift experience, we just got to be smart. We just have to be smart and be wise in all of these situations that we are find ourselves in, especially in these interpersonal situations. So definitely be wise, and be harmless at the same time. So yeah, that's my spiel, and that's my response to the video. You know, I don't want any smoke, but you know, you guys can leave any comments that you may have about my experiences, or just sundown towns, or your experiences. definitely, I want to hear it. Leave me a comment in the description. And so I do want to hear your experiences. So you can leave a comment below and just kind of let me know what you've gone through, or if you. I know people are gonna have some solutions or suggestions for me. If you do, let me know what you think. So that's it. Until the next time, be safe, be wise, and be harmless. All right. Peace.